We'll talk million-dollar careers. How you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm good. What's going on in San Diego?
It's beautiful. I love the fall here. It's crisp. We get all the benefits of fall and none of the impending sense of doom that I used to get from living in Iowa.
California at the beach. When are you guys going to get done counting votes? You think the most progressive, technically advanced state in the nation
if there's anything
votes
that'll make you lose faith in humanity, it's the political system. I'm reading the Sovereign Individual right now, which is a 25-year-old book at this point.
Okay.
That is very illuminating and a very good book to let go of any aspirations you have that the political process will change anything, and putting all of your hope in huge technological movements that have way more ability to affect change. So it's really, really great book. So I'm getting into that. And that's what's going on in California. So I think we are the ones that are responsible for the Republicans taking control of the House, because Kevin Kiley up in Northern California, like a rural district, I guess they just counted the votes for him and he won. So that tips the favor in the House in favor of Republicans or something like that. So that's where we stand.
We have a divided government, but it's interesting you said that. I was just reading LinkedIn today, and it was interesting. You talk about the political process versus processes in general.
Mm-hmm.
And this lady wrote, put a post up on LinkedIn, and I read it, and it was interesting because she was from England, and she was talking about, basically soccer cleats are made for men. And because they're made for men and adapted for women, there's a higher degree of injury to young girls. Okay, makes sense. Makes sense to me.
Okay.
But here's the deal. There's a problem. And for every problem in the world, there is a fix. There is a profitable fix.
Mm-hmm.
And there is a profitable fix that will change society for the better.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it comes down to, who do you trust more? 535 politicians in the House and the Senate, and a couple knuckleheads in the White House, be they Republican or Democrat,
mm-hmm.
or, people who actually go to work, think about things that need fixing, and get them fixed.
Yeah. Far more trusting of those people. Call them problem solvers, change makers,
problem
whatever.
solvers. And that's why I love the small business person,
mm-hmm.
because the small business person is like out there every day, rise and grind. I gotta go fix somebody's problem so that I can make a living and feed my family.
That's right. Make hay while the sun shines.
Make hay while the sun shines. I love
Let's get into turnarounds. So we were talking a little bit about the football season, which you haven't paid as much attention to, but there was something really significant that happened over the last week, right? Which is the Indianapolis Colts is a struggling franchise, very similar to, any kind of struggling mid-level, multi-million dollar company. So they fire the coach and they install someone from their past that has ties to the past, but has no head coaching experience. Very similar to maybe promoting somebody from another company that has no CEO experience and expecting them to essentially turn around an ailing franchise. It has a lot of similarities to JCPenney bringing in Ron Johnson. We talked a little bit about that before we hit record. Mm-hmm. So I want to talk about turnarounds. So from the perspective of $1 million career, becoming a turnaround CEO can be super lucrative, right? You said private equity is always looking for them. There's stock options involved. I mean, this is a lucrative niche, but what does it actually take to successfully turn around a struggling company?
A lot of chaos.
Slightly controlled. And
I'm not joking. It's chaos. It's stress. It's chaos.
Okay.
It is. Yeah, but it's life, it's reality, and this is what Domino's Pizza. They hired a turnaround guy when there's they needed their pizza sucked. I haven't had a Domino's pizza in years.
Oh man, you're missing out.
Their
turnaround has been good.
But since the turnaround, but they even got on TV and they were like, our recipe is really not good. Our pizzas don't taste very good. Yeah, you get it in 30 minutes or less, but who the heck wants a crummy pizza in 30 minutes or less, right? So they hired a turnaround guy. And I can't think of his
Rich
name.
Allison, does that sound
Rich
right?
I think so. And now he just got poached
Mm-hmm.
Turned around Domino's. His day is it's time to turn it around. The Titanic has been patched up and is sailing down to New York. He's fixed it.
Mm-hmm.
And now he's going to Burger King.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Well, they could definitely use it.
Burger King is a colossal train wreck.
Yeah.
So what do you, look, when you're Twitter has been a failing business. For 10 years that Twitter has been in existence, it hasn't made a dime. Its product really isn't very good.
Mm-hmm.
I don't get on it because it's nothing more than a forum of, in my opinion, it's nothing more than a forum of hate and discontent. 30% of the content is nothing but bots out of China. So Elon comes in and spends $44 billion. And what's he doing? He's blowing the whole thing up.
Mm-hmm.
And the noise is not about, I find it funny. The noise is not about, the one person, the single person who's created more shareholder value than any other entrepreneur on the face of the planet buys Twitter. And no one is saying, can he turn this thing into another SpaceX, another PayPal, another Tesla? Something great.
Mm-hmm.
They're all talking about, he's going to fire people and what's Twitter going to look like? And this is a calamity. It's a disaster. I'm like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Look, I understand that people are going to get laid off. The company loses like $40 million a day or $4 million a day. I mean, you got to cut costs. You just cut $1 million a month in free food out.
What? $1 million in free food?
$1 million a month.
No way.
And he averaged it out to a per meal basis. It was $400 per meal because they were serving food to people who weren't showing up to the office.
Wow.
So every day, someone would come in and they cook all this food, but they're all working from home. So nobody shows up. So all the food just goes $1 million a month.
Oh my God.
But for some reason, everybody's focusing on this.
Right.
Where if you had a vision, you're looking at, all right, what's he going to do? He's going to come in and Elon's going to be Elon. He's going to blow everything up. He's going to change the culture. The culture probably needs changing.
Yeah.
He's going to make it a pay for service. He's going to figure out how to get all the bots off the platform, if that's possible. I don't know. I'm not a tech person.
Yeah.
But he's going to figure that out. And he's saying engineering now is engineering is going to be more important than product development right now. Okay. He's got a plan.
Right. Yeah. Which from his perspective makes sense because he's looking at it going like, hey, this is essentially a broken product. We got to fix it first before we can improve.
Yeah. And he's telling all his employees, he's like, hey, look, this is a turnaround. I need your commitment. If you're going to stay, I need your commitment to stay. I got $44 billion of my own money tied up in this thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think he probably wants to see, think about any small business owner.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's take that from not Elon, but put that down to a small business owner. And the small business owner says, I've got my own capital in this thing. I'm hiring people. If I'm paying you $25 an hour, I need $40 an hour of productivity out of you.
Mm-hmm.
That's called capital. That's called capitalism. That's what makes that's what, the difference between an entrepreneur and an employee. An employee shows up.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that I think that concept is getting overlooked. And
Agreed. Okay. So when we were chatting about this before we hit record, here is the things that you kind of threw out off the cuff. Elements of a successful turnaround. So you've got culture, which you've mentioned, right? It's going to take a lot for someone like Musk to turn around the culture. Ron Johnson at JCPenney tried to turn around the culture. It sounds like he didn't do it successfully, but he also got another element wrong, which is the product, right? So you've got
I think he forgot his customers.
People,
I don't think he understood his customers.
Well, clearly not. Yeah. And then the playbook. So culture, people, product, and playbook were the things that you mentioned. Mm-hmm. So Ron Johnson got the product wrong because he didn't understand the customers. Musk is trying to fix the product at Twitter along with the culture, right? Mm-hmm. And then you've got people. There's going to be a lot like Musk is having to fire and let go with a lot of people because there was sounds like there was just bloat and a lot of, unreasonable expectations for how easy work should be. Right. And he needs people that are showing up with the intention to work and create more value than they take home. Right. Mm-hmm. Okay. So you've got culture, people, product, and play. What do you mean by playbook, by the way?
Playbook strategy. What's the strategy?
Got it.
I'll give you look, me, I'm an aviation guy.
Mm-hmm.
When I showed up to Gulfstream Aircraft, it was 72 hours from closing its door. It was going bankrupt in the early 1990s. It was 72 hours from closing its doors in bankruptcy. Yeah. The guys at Falcon Jet, literally, I know a guy who was a senior leader up at Falcon Jet. They were doing a jig. They're like, yeah, Gulfstream's going out of business. More for us.
Mm-hmm.
They're dancing.
Okay.
And Ted Forsman was an investment banker out of our private equity guy, comes out of New York. And
Okay.
Ted was a character, much like Musk.
Yeah.
A successful character. And he liked the brand. He liked the Gulfstream brand. He owned a Gulfstream jet. So he comes in and he brings him, he buys the company essentially buys the company out of bankruptcy.
Okay.
And then he did this. He goes and hires some of the best executives. He goes and hires a guy named Fred Breidenbach to run operations. He brings in a lady named Chris Davis out of GE. Fred and Chris come out of GE. They bring in another guy out of GE to kind of be a partner to Chris. They bring in a guy named Bill Boyster, another guy named Brian Moss, and they created this management team. And then the management team brings in probably the best, a guy named Press Henny, the best aircraft designer. I want to say, designer, program manager. They bring him out of Boeing. He's phenomenal. Bring in an incredible manufacturing guy. And they just build this team of high caliber, high horsepower individuals. And then they tell the workers, they're like, hey, look, we're not here to screw around. Yeah. This is a turnaround. We've got 4,000 jobs on the line. We're betting our own money, our own capital. And it was it was an intense environment. I mean, so that was kind of the playbook. Let's bring in the right people. They compensated the hell out. All those people made just trash loads of money. And I don't care that they made trash loads of money. They made trash loads of money and they deserved it.
Yeah.
And, basically what they did, you look at Gulfstream today, 30 years later, employs 13,000 people in Savannah, Georgia. Mm-hmm. It delivers a couple hundred airplanes a year. It's the, top brand and makes a pile of money. That's a turnaround.
Do you feel like he got all of those elements right? Culture, people, playbook, product?
Culture was, culture. We're going to go from a sleepy little South Georgia Savannah company, which it was, to one of a high intensity, high impact, highly focused manufacturer of airplanes. It was a sales.
That's a radical change.
It was a sales machine. I'll tell you how. I mean, it was brutal.
Yeah, well, because you were a sales guy in that machine, right?
Well, I wasn't necessarily the guy at the pointy end of the spear, but it was brutal. And you were working, you were working, 12 hours a day, and you're happy. Yeah, it's like, all right, I got a job to do, and it was the Okay. But you could see the success. Mm-hmm. So the people were changed. The culture was changed. It became one of sleepy little company to execution. Mm-hmm. The product, they bet the bank on new products.
Okay.
They just continually delivered new products on time, on budget. Expanded, so the product was good. And that was a perfect turn. That's a classic aerospace turnaround right there. That's what Boeing needs right now.
Is it?
Oh my God. Don't get me started.
Okay. So who is the right person? So let's say you're an A player. You're at a company right now. You're in the C-suite and you're going, what's the next step? Right. Mm-hmm. I could stay in this company that I'm at, and I could wait for somebody to leave or die or whatever. And hopefully I get a shot at the CEO spot. Or I could look to go to a great company and jump to the C-suite over there and, see if I can get into the CEO chair eventually there. Or I could put my hat in the ring for something like that. How do you know if you're the right, assume that you're an A player. How do you know if you have the right disposition, character, traits, things like that to go in and be a good turnaround specialist?
You remember that poster It was like an eagle on a branch, and it said, "Patience, my ass. I want to go kill something."
Okay.
If you just put turnaround CEO on that poster,
Okay.
that's kind of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they got to be a killer eagle that is
I think
impatient, impatient as hell.
Look, I think it's it's got to be a good leader. I
Yeah.
think it's somebody who can understand. It's somebody who can, you think about, look, it's Patton, it's it's Patton, it's MacArthur, it's people who can Nimitz, different management styles. Jack Welch to some degree, to a big degree. Jack, they were all pretty. I don't want to say they were like, you knew what you were getting. They had a management style that got people to rise to the occasion.
Mm-hmm.
No excuses. This is the goal. This is the mission. We got to get there.
Mm-hmm.
Failure is not an option. So it's somebody who's got to be able to lead, to be able to have that style, to be able to do that, who's comfortable getting out in front of 500, 1,000, 10,000 people, whatever the company is.
Mm-hmm.
And they're saying, all right, we're going to make a lot of hard decisions. There's right ways and there's wrong ways to do it. Mm-hmm. We're going to make hard decisions, but I'm going to clearly outline the goal of the company. Here's the vision for what we're going for. Mm-hmm. And here's the purpose. So now you have vision, you have purpose, you're able to make the hard decisions. That's the person who, and look, I don't mind that somebody's money motivated.
No, of course not.
I don't mind. Hey, look, everybody says, the CEO gets a lot of money. Well, CEO of a failing company that may not be in business in 3 years unless something changes radically, if they make a lot of money, I don't care. Mm-hmm. And all the people that they bring in, and if they motivate them to make a pile of money, I'm okay with that too.
Agreed. Yeah. Yeah, you're taking a big chance. Look at Ron Johnson and his legacy for all the success he had leading up to JCPenney. That's what everybody knows him for now. Like, that's a big deal. When you put your ass on the line, your reputation on the line, your good name on the line to go take over a struggling company, you're taking a huge, huge chance. Anyway.
How about Steve Jobs when he was hired back at Apple?
Yeah.
Visionary, and not necessarily the easiest guy to get along with. Probably, a lot of people would just say, "Hey, not my cup of tea."
Yep.
A lot of stronger words than that, but the guy was a visionary.
Yeah.
And now you think about what Apple does today. It employs hundreds of thousands of people. It drives billions of dollars of economic value. It's changed lives as far as, you think about the music industry or app creators. Mm-hmm. And you think about everything that Apple has done to the tech industry. Okay, the guy may have been a jerk, but he had a vision. People followed the vision, right?
Yeah,
I think that's a lot of what people out. That's what it takes to be a leader, and it's people who can manage up and who can manage down and get the canoe rowing in the right direction.
Yeah, love it. Okay, let's finish up with how do people get in contact with you? Let's say they're an A player, they're looking to make a move.
910-231-4037 is my phone. Craig at northstaresg.com. I'm all over the internet. Connect with me on LinkedIn.
Yeah, LinkedIn is definitely a great place. You can get in touch with you directly. So, Craig, it's fun as always.
As always, Matt. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed the latest edition of the Aerospace Executive Podcast. You can reach out to me directly, Craig at northstaresg.com, or check us out at www.northstaresg.com. You can subscribe to this podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, Podbean, or on YouTube. Just do a search for Aerospace Executive Podcast. Thanks again. I'm Craig Pittman.